I'd love to hear, how you feel about it and what it means to your organization to actually win one of our very first inaugural Charity Village Awards.
Absolutely. Well, in a way, it's a little bit fitting to win something that's inaugural because I think a lot of the work that Mosaic Institute does ends up in that category anyways. So from that perspective, it was fitting. And I think, the team, at first we were just surprised and then we felt a lot of gratitude, just very grateful because all of the applicants and everyone that was shortlisted, everyone's doing such incredible work. And then it just became really validating. We're a small team. Our core team is 5 people, and it really just validated the work that my team shows up every day and does, especially over the past year when it's been so difficult for all of us.
No question. So let's talk about your organization and the work that you do that you think may have made the difference that allowed you to win this award that focuses on mental health in the workplace.
Absolutely. So Mosaic's mission is to equip people with the tools to dismantle prejudice in their own communities. And so for us, it's really about walking the talk, starting that work internally so that we are equipped and able to do it externally. And so for us, what we really talked about in the application was the fact that we put people first. We really do our best to create an equitable and inclusive workplace. And a large part of that is recognizing as equity demands that people have different needs. And when it comes to mental health, that is certainly true. What needs to be in place to support one person is going to look and feel differently than what needs to be in place for another. So from an organizational perspective, it's about having that flexibility and having that flexibility built into our policies.
And I'd love to know what the impact has been on your organization of actually winning this award. Like, how did it reflect not just the work that you do, but how your team felt about the work that they were doing and the way that they work together?
Absolutely. So one of the things that certainly the tone is set by our leadership, but really it's all of our team works hard to do is cultivate open communication. And so some of that is through very formal processes. So the way in which we conduct our team evaluations and our program feedback, this isn't only about internally how we act as a team, it also trickles through the way in which we create and design our programming. So that's really been a core thing that they feel recognized for. They put in the work to do that every day and to not only create the space to support each other, but to be supportive as well. So to be supported and be supportive. So that really means a lot to them and to our team to see that recognized and recognized externally has just been wonderful. Externally, we've already received some messages from folks asking us for resources, asking us how we managed to do this with a small team, with a comparatively small budget as well. A lot of the things that we implement, it's not about money, it's about intentionality and time and knowing where you put those resources towards. So that's really been wonderful for us as well to be able to share some of the strategies that we've seen and heard work really well. Going back to evaluations, it's not only us tooting our own horn, like we've been told this by our program participants, by our team members, that the fact that we work hard to create this space for open communication and validation really goes a long way to creating a space where they feel valued, which in turn contributes to a mentally healthy workplace.
So it seems that, especially as it relates to your mission, that you're actually internally walking your talk.
We're really trying to. We really do. And, I think everyone does that. I think especially in this sector, you really have to be connected to the work that you're doing to get up every day and be in difficult situations. The topics that we deal with are not easy and it affects people's lives. So you really do have to have that alignment in terms of values to show up every day and be willing to do the work.
Now, obviously, we know that for the nonprofit and charitable sector, the professionals, the organizations, the people within it really were impacted by the pandemic that we're all going through in a very unique way. I wonder if you could address how some of the work that you did during the pandemic may have reflected these values and these practices that you try to do. What new things you may have done during this time that also supported your application of really demonstrating your commitment to mental health in the workplace.
Absolutely. So for us, we ended up going remotely quite suddenly and quite unexpectedly. So that in and of itself had quite a significant toll on our team. So one of the first things that we did was really connect with each team member and check in with them, find out how they're doing and what they needed. And we applied for and received funding to support our team through materially, capitally through the pandemic. But going back to that concept of equity, that looks different for different people. So for some, it was having a desk because they've never had to work from home. They didn't have a desk. For others, it meant noise canceling headphones because other members of their family were in a similar space, also having calls all day. So it was really taking a step back and understanding that for our team to be equipped and to feel comfortable and to feel able to show up to work, that looks differently for different people. We also moved to a more flexible workplace structure. We have core hours when everyone is expected to be online and available, but we moved to a little bit more of a deliverables based system where you get your work done when you're able to get your work done. And again, that looks differently for everyone these days. Lastly, something that we implemented, which actually was in the works prior to COVID, but it ended up getting implemented during COVID, was dedicated team building time. Because we're such a small team, it could feel siloed even before COVID, and during COVID, when we're all working remotely, even more so. So we have a lunch and learn every other week where we take turns leading it. Sometimes they're quite formal. Most of the times they're quite informal. And the entire goal of that is to get everyone talking and connecting. And it's not only the five of us, our student interns are invited to that, our leadership when they're available. It really creates a sense of camaraderie and that we are all in it together because we are.
Well, no question, and what great ideas. What advice would you give to other nonprofit professionals or other organizations who may want to emulate your work and do the kind of work that has garnered you this kind of achievement of this award?
That's a wonderful question. Put people first and recognize that putting people first means different things for different people. So, for myself in the role of operations, that means making sure that my policies are flexible enough to accommodate different needs for different people. But in my role as a direct supervisor, it means taking the time to check in. If that means I spend 5 or 10 minutes connecting with my team member as a person and not as the person who's responsible for specific tasks, then that's what it takes. Having an equitable view towards the members of my team, putting people first, is really the ultimate strategy that I can suggest. And then recognizing that looks differently for different people and different organizations as well.
Wonderful. And so my final question to you is, could you tell us whether you think these kinds of awards that Charity Village introduced this year are good for the sector? And if they are, can you tell me why?
I absolutely think they're good for the sector. I think last time I checked, and the stats probably off base, there were over 80,000 charities in Canada. And within each of those, there's silos and different areas that we work in. There's no way we can all connect with each other. And organizations like Charity Village are the few, places that we have to all come together. So these types of awards bring us together, allow small organizations like us that are doing good work to get our name out there for people to see us, but also for us to learn from each other, because there's no need for any of us to reinvent the wheel. And these types of awards and these types of opportunities really showcase what people are doing and allow us to learn from each other.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Mary.